Suzi Quatro was born Susan K. Quatro on June 3, 1950 in Detroit, Michigan. Right from when she was little, she was really good at music naturally. And this special talent would later make her famous all around the world. Unlike a lot of female singers back then, Suzi didn't just stand in front of a band and sing. She did something different by becoming a bass-playing rock star who wore leather, even though the music business was mostly run by men. She became a trailblazer in both music and culture, and young musicians still look up to her today. Suzi grew up in a family that loved music. Her dad, Art Quatro, played music, and there was always music playing in their house. This creative home gave her the courage to find her own musical voice and her own spot in the world of sound. When she was a teenager, she was already performing. She started an all-girl rock band with her sisters called the Pleasure Seekers. This band was really special because it was one of the first all-girl rock bands to get noticed at a time when girls almost never got the chance to play instruments in bands. Suzi played bass guitar, sang, and had lots of star power even when she was young. This planted the seeds for the cool style that would soon make her famous around the world. Her life and career changed big time in the early 1970s when she was discovered by a famous British music producer named Mickey Most. He saw something special in Suzi that he thought could make her a star. She moved to the United Kingdom, which was a brave choice that turned out to be the best decision of her career. While many American fans weren't ready to accept women in hard rock yet, people in the UK loved her right away. In 1973, Suzi became a huge star with her hit song, Can the Can, a powerful rock song that shot straight to #1 on the UK charts and sold over 2 million copies around the world. The song was a bold statement that Suzi was here to stay, and it proved she was a fearless rocker who wasn't scared to own the stage. Throughout the 1970s, Suzi Quatro became one of the biggest female rock stars. Songs like 48 Crash, Devil Gate Drive, and The Wild One all became huge hits around the world and showed off her special mix of powerful singing, punchy bass playing, and rebel attitude. On stage, wearing her famous leather jumpsuit, she showed an image of strength, confidence, and independence that challenged what people thought women in music should be like. She didn't want to be in the background or treated like a joke. Suzi demanded to be respected as a serious musician, and she got it. Her presence helped countless women who came after her in the rock and punk music scenes, making her a true pioneer. Besides her music career, Suzi also showed she could do different things by trying acting. She became known to American TV viewers in the mid-1970s when she played a character named Leather Tuscadero on the popular TV show Happy Days. This role made her more famous in the US and let her show her star quality in a new way while still staying true to her rock and roll personality. Her success in both music and TV proved that she was more than just a singer. She was an entertainer with many different talents. What she did for music wasn't just about selling records, but about influencing others. Suzi Quatro inspired later female rockers like Joan Jett, Chrissie Hynde, Debbie Harry, and the Runaways. These artists have said openly that Suzi's bravery and style gave them permission and confidence to follow their own careers in music styles that were usually dominated by men. In this way, Suzi's legacy isn't just about the records she sold, but about the doors she opened for others in culture. She became a role model without even trying. And by doing that, she changed the sound and the look of rock music for many generations. Even as the years have gone by, Suzi Quatro has never stopped. She has kept touring, recording, and performing well into the 2000s and 2010s, proving that her love for music is as strong as ever. Albums like Back to the Drive in 2006 and No Control in 2019 showed that she could still make exciting, energetic music that her fans loved. Her performances on stage are still electric, and her voice still has the same power and edge that first amazed audiences in the 1970s. In the later parts of her amazing career, Suzi Quatro proved once more that her love for music and her ability to connect with fans are as strong as ever. Instead of slowing down, she started using radio to share her love of rock and roll with listeners across the United Kingdom and other places. Going on the radio at BBC Radio 2, Quatro brought her trademark charisma, huge knowledge of rock history, and personal stories from decades in the music business to a whole new audience. Her first radio show, a fun program called Rocking with Suzi Q, was more than just a show. It was a celebration of the music that shaped generations. Listeners tuned in not only to hear the classic songs she picked, but also to experience them through her perspective, made richer by her behind-the-scenes stories and real enthusiasm. Building on that success, she later started a second program called Wake Up Little Suzi, which had the same sense of energy and realness while offering a fresh take on her love for rock music. These programs quickly became favorites among fans who loved hearing Quatro's voice, not just as a singer, but as a storyteller, guide, and champion of the music that continues to inspire her. By getting into radio broadcasting, she showed once more that her talent goes way beyond the stage, proving that Suzi Quatro is not just a rock star, but also a cultural icon with a timeless ability to entertain, teach, and excite. In 1976, when she was at the peak of her career as a groundbreaking female rock musician, Suzi Quatro made a big personal commitment when she married her longtime guitarist and musical partner, Len Tucky. Their marriage was not only about love, but also a continuation of the professional partnership they had built on stage. Tucky, a talented guitarist, had been part of Quatro's touring band, and the two shared not just a love for music, but also an understanding of the special pressures and demands of life in the rock industry. Together, they started a family, having 2 children during their marriage. Balancing being a mom with a demanding international career was not easy. But Quatro, known for her strength and determination, managed to find ways to take care of both her family and her music. Even though they had a deep connection, the marriage faced challenges over the years. By 1992, after 16 years together, Quatro and Tucky divorced, ending an important chapter in her personal life. During their years as a family, Quatro and Tucky had made a big investment in their future together when they bought a grand manor house in 1980. Located not far from Chelmsford in Essex, England, the manor represented both stability and success. The couple raised their children there, creating a sense of home away from the constant travel and public attention that came with Quatro's career. After the divorce, Quatro kept living in the manor with her 2 children, holding on to the house as a place of continuity for her family. It became a safe haven where she could balance her private responsibilities as a mother with her public role as an international performer. In 1993, not long after her divorce, Suzi Quatro got married again, this time to a German concert promoter named Rainer Haas. Haas's work in the music industry meant he understood the demands of Quatro's career, and their marriage gave her both companionship and professional support. By this time, Quatro was an established icon in rock music, admired around the world for breaking barriers for female musicians, and having a partner who worked in the business likely gave her a stabilizing influence. Family continued to play an important role in Quatro's life. In 2006, her daughter and grandchild came back to live in the Essex Manor House, bringing back the family atmosphere that Quatro loved. The house once again filled with the sounds of children, laughter, and everyday family life, softening the loneliness that comes when children grow up and start their own independent lives. However, as time went on, her children eventually moved out again. By the end of 2008, Quatro admitted to experiencing what many parents do when their children leave home, empty nest syndrome. To deal with the change, she temporarily put the Essex Manor up for sale, showing both her desire for change and the emotional difficulty of keeping such a large family home when it no longer served the same purpose. Despite these changes, Quatro has stayed deeply connected to the places that shaped her life. She continues to split her time between Essex and Hamburg, keeping ties both to her life in England and to her husband's home country of Germany. Hamburg, with its strong musical history, also gives her a lively cultural base. At the same time, Quatro has never lost her connection to her roots in the United States, especially her hometown of Detroit, Michigan, where her musical journey first started. By keeping homes in Essex, Hamburg, and occasionally spending time in Detroit, she shows the truly international nature of her life and career, representing the spirit of a woman whose music and personal experiences reach across continents and generations. At 75 years old, Suzi Quatro has lived through 5 decades in the spotlight, making her place in music history as one of the first women to truly break into the male-dominated world of rock and roll. She's known for her leather jumpsuits, her thunderous bass playing, and her unstoppable spirit on stage, but one part of her career has always had a special glow: her work with Chris Norman from the band Smokey. For years, fans have wondered about the bond the two shared during and after the release of their 1978 worldwide hit duet, Stumblin' In. Now, with the wisdom of age and the knowledge that comes from a long career, Quatro has finally opened up in more detail about what Chris Norman really meant to her, both personally and professionally. "Chris was without question one of the easiest people I ever worked with," Suzi explained. "There was no ego with him. In this business, that's rare, especially when 2 people are put together for a duet that neither of them expected to become such a big hit. From the very first moment we started singing, there was a natural chemistry. It was almost effortless." Back in the late 1970s, Quatro was already well known as a solo star. Norman, meanwhile, was doing great with Smokey, who were known for their special blend of soft rock and folk-inspired pop. When producer Mike Chapman put the two of them together for Stumblin' In, the result was a surprise even to Quatro herself. "We both thought it would just be another song, maybe a small hit if we were lucky," she admitted. "Neither of us expected it to go to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in America and become a classic that people are still singing 45 years later. That's the magic of music. You never really know what's going to touch people." For Quatro, the experience was not only about commercial success, but also about the connection with Norman as a fellow artist. She describes their time together in the studio as filled with laughter, respect, and a sense of shared adventure. "Chris had this warmth about him," she said. "He wasn't just a great singer. He was a gentleman. He put me at ease immediately. I was used to being in control of my own music, but with Chris, it felt natural to share the spotlight. We weren't competing. We were creating something together, and that's why it worked." Fans, of course, have long wondered about whether there was more than just artistic chemistry between Quatro and Norman. Suzi has never denied the deep bond, but she also insists that it was a professional and friendly connection built on mutual admiration. "People love to imagine romances behind the scenes," she laughed. "The truth is we adored each other, but it was about the music. We were both married at the time, and we respected that. What we had was a friendship and a musical partnership that created something timeless. And honestly, that's even more special in some ways." Looking back now, Suzi sees Stumblin' In not just as a hit song, but also as a reminder of how one song can shape the way the world remembers you. "I will always be the leather-clad rocker with the bass guitar," she reflected. "But for millions of people, I'll also always be the voice on that duet with Chris. And I don't mind that. I'm proud of it. It showed another side of me, softer, more vulnerable, but still strong." Even today, decades later, Quatro and Norman remain friends, occasionally reconnecting for interviews and anniversary celebrations of their hit. "Chris is one of those people you don't forget," she said fondly. "When we see each other now, it's like no time has passed. We slip right back into that easy friendship we had in the studio all those years ago. That's rare, and it's something I treasure." As she thinks about her journey, Quatro believes the duet carries a lasting message that connects even more strongly now than it did in 1978. "It's about love that's uncertain. About finding your way through something new and exciting," she explained. "Everyone, no matter how old they are, can relate to stumbling into love or stumbling into something unexpected that changes your life. That's why the song lasts." At 75, Suzi Quatro continues to tour, record, and inspire new generations of musicians. But when asked to name one of the highlights of her career, she doesn't hesitate to place her collaboration with Chris Norman near the top. "That song was a gift," she concluded, "and Chris was part of that gift. I'll always be grateful for him, for the music we made together, and for the memories that have lasted a lifetime."